Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin.
Okie doke.
You want to do the first one?
There we go.
Oh, sure. Is this before even the podcast starts?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, gang. We're doing the Max Fun Drive. We're trying to get as many subscribers as possible so that Max Fun can continue to put out this great content, including this podcast. They gave us ways to frame it. So in this first message, we're framing it as sacrifices for the common good. Guys, sacrifice $5 to $20 a month or more for the common good of having great content to listen to. There's so many awesome podcasts on this network. And, if we provide anything for you, you could provide a little bit for us. It's called You Scratch My Back, I Scratch Your Back, or common good, I guess sounds better. You get a game pack if you do 20 a month. $20 a month. How much joy have you been given by Jackie and I? And it would just cost you $20. This might be the worst promo I've done so far.
Tell them where.
Oh, thank you. I'm getting lost in the details. Go to MaximumFun.org/join and come aboard. Be a member.
You guys do fun bonus episodes.
Oh God.
Episode with a no S.
We have to tape a bonus episode for you. We'll be pissed for that.
It's going to be good.
You're going to want to listen to that.
That's worth it for the whole year just for that.
It is. Right, 20 a month, that's only $240 for one podcast episode. And I think that's a bargain still.
That's
absolutely.
Like $5 an episode, a cup of coffee. And some months, there's 5 episodes, so it'd be even less. I'm not going to do the math.
So what should they do?
Go to MaximumFun.org/join and use their power of some denomination of $5 and give it to us each month.
Nice. You guys want to talk about comedy?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I've done lots of sets. And
how many
psyched.
sets did you do this week?
I did 4 in the last 2 days. And so
that's amazing.
I'm in an excellent mood. Let me just say that.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing what a little stand-up comedy will do for me and my attitude.
Well, also because one of them was Jenny Yang's Animal Crossing show. Anything that's a little different from just the regular Zoom situation puts a person in a better mood because you just don't feel like it's Groundhog's Day at your computer.
True. That is enormously true, and it was adorable and lovely, and I can't express how much it was super cute and really fun. And Amber Preston, who's a comic, been a previous comic of the week, she worked my character, and she made a really cute character. Aldrin made a Dork Forest sweater for me, and you know what it made me do working with Amber was it made me write my set. Huh? Come on.
What do you mean, write it out?
No, right, but write a set list, and I have been kind of just sort of winging it, doing my favorite stuff on short shows.
Yeah, you've been freestyling.
Yeah, a little freestyle it. So, but I told Amber what I was like. I did the murder hornet thing, and in Animal Crossing, there's bugs. You can pull out giant animated bugs, and it's adorable.
That's cool. I love that murder hornet.
It was super cute.
Thing.
Yeah, that's coming along.
Yeah, it does come along. And then you did a set today at 1:00, and I got to do a little guest set on it, and that was cool.
Yep, and with Ophira and Robert Jenkins.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a great show. I've already gotten emails telling people saying how much fun they had at that one. But remember, we started this week. I think was it the Flappers Jackie and Laurie show?
Yes. Oh my God, that's been a long week.
It has, and it was I got so many emails about that one too, because that was a murderer's row, man.
It was really fun. There was this has happened in another Zoom show where, in fact, it was the Maximum Fun one when Helen didn't have video. So maybe Zoom changed some settings because Erin Jackson didn't have video for almost her entire set, if not the whole thing.
The whole thing, and then she had to come back in. What happened was is she said when she left the Zoom meeting and came back in, the video restarted.
Oh, that's weird.
Remember, I had to bail.
Yes.
On the Helen Hong thing, and that was because that was all Max Fun comics, right? It was
Yeah,
Helen,
that was cool.
Dave.
Yes. I've already forgotten the lineup. Please don't embarrass me any further by asking me to remember it. But our show was really fun. We had like 6 pages, right, of people visit, right? We had a massive amount of people. And Flappers is cutting you a check, and then you'll cut everyone else some sort of Venmo thing, right?
Right. And so we're swapping who gets paid from Flappers or whatever.
So we each have
a tax burden.
Yes.
To share the tax burden.
Well, I guess we should incorporate, but that's a lot of work right now.
That feels.
Although, could our corporation get its own PPP loan one day? Jackie, something to think about.
Yep. Yeah, I really.
You're writing. Are you scribbling a note?
I was scribbling down a possible name or tag for the show.
Okay. You're in your bedroom. We see
the guest room.
Oh, it's the guest room. But do you and Andy ever dabble in the guest room?
We don't. We don't.
Okay.
Here's too much info that I'm sure nobody who knows Andy wants to hear. I woke him up at like 2:30 in the morning the other night to go, hey, what do you want to do? You busy? And
wow.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I'm awake now. What do you want to do? And so we made sweet, sweet love in the middle of the night.
So that's nice. I don't even know what that's like. I don't know what a relationship is like, or sweet love, or any love. So
yeah,
if he were to do that to you another morning, would you?
I would love to say that I was a good sport. I'd love to hope and pray that I would.
You would not accommodate your husband?
I might. We don't know. It's I don't know that it's ever happened for either of us doing that, and yeah.
It's pandemic Jackie. She will wake you up at 2:30 in the morning to get fucked. That's our new reality.
Yes. Maybe it is. All I know is last week I was in such a sad place. I was in such a bad mood, and now I'm in a much better place, even though the world is still on fire. Horrible things happen. But I have a little bit more peace of mind and serenity because I've got to work on these jokes again.
Yeah, I finished painting my room. I don't know if you could tell, but it's all blue now, all the walls.
You didn't just go with an accent wall? Congratulations.
It's not well done. There's like blobs of paint on the ceiling, and then they're all, over that edging at the bottom. But, it's good enough for me. I'm not trying to get security deposit back. It's right. I just need a blue room. And,
you wanted a blue?
Yeah.
And you're the proud owner of it.
I am. And, but it's a little more of an erasure of my mom's presence, which is another layer of things to go through. Mm-hmm. But I decided on the wall behind the computer is where I'm just going to start. I have index cards for my set list and just kind of start putting it together like it's a scene by scene of a sitcom. And maybe that can help me stay organized. It's hard for me to figure out an order and remember just tags and jokes because I'm not performing every night. Right. So I don't have last night's set in my head. And so when I sit down with my notebook, it's a fucking mess. And it feels like I can't get a jump start on this new thing I'm working on. So anyway, I think that'll help.
It can't hurt because I'll tell you something. That's exactly how I felt in the last couple of sets where I don't have last night's set in my head. Mm-hmm. That's it exactly. And it's because I need. So that just means I have to do more work with my notebook. Yeah. I just have to do more. Like today's set was better than last night's set, and I did 2 sets yesterday. I did the birthday show. I did the birthday private, which was adorable, And that's another thing is I've gotten to see, like, with the Animal Crossing show and with this birthday show that I did for this really nice guy and his wife, who, by the way, this is for Kyle. He turned 40. He turned 50 rather, so I left the room to give them some privacy. You know, what I did was I started the Zoom show an hour early so that they could hang out for his birthday. All the people's friends. And I emailed the woman and I said, I'll start the Zoom show early. I know this sounds sad, but it might be fun. And she goes, it does sound sad. We would like to do that. And so they had like cake and, I tried to give him privacy by leaving, but I came back in because I made her host, but I wanted to make sure it was all still working. And I came in and he was telling them that, that since he turned 50, he had thought about the different ways to have a party, and he was thinking about trying to return the One Ring to Mordor, because that's how old Frodo was when he went to Mordor to return the
Do
One
I need
Ring.
to even be here anymore? Who is this? Who is this story for?
Anyway, I did text you that thing where I took a picture of the screen because their daughters were playing Dear Theodosia, a duet that they had arranged on violin.
Neat.
They were like 12 and 14, these two young women, and they were doing a duet for their dad and for all their friends on Zoom. It was super cute, and they were the nicest people. And I got to do 30, and it was pretty tight. Mm-hmm. And then I did Animal Crossing, and it was a bit of a mess because there were 660 people.
Wow.
She got 1,200 invites, registrants.
Oh my God.
And almost 700 people showed up.
Wow.
And then she let them mute and unmute themselves, which with that many people, I wouldn't go with more than 30 or 40. I would just sort of have people raise their blue hand, you know, when you could raise a hand.
Yeah, but no, it doesn't matter how many people are on Zoom. How many laughers do you need? More than like 6 or 7, really?
Right.
Then even if you have that many people laughing, they're causing audio problems when they're laughing over each other. You know, it's just that's what we're dealing with right now.
It's a tech issue. And you were talking about the lights going out. Have you ever done a live show where the lights go out? I have, where you've had to do your set in the dark. Or
that sounds familiar, but I can't remember if I'd seen someone's. I don't. Maybe like a super long time ago, and it was like a quick thing.
Right. It was I've
just enough to get fingered by the host.
Well, good times. Isn't that how we want to go? So, but I will say that, like I've had technical difficulties. You know, there's a bunch of people having like outdoor shows now, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's talking about them like they're the second coming. But I remember a year ago, they were the shittiest of all shows. An outdoor show, you can't hear the laughs. Mm-hmm. The laughs go into the sky. And now I guess Zoom is the shittiest show, and outdoor shows are somehow better.
I like it because both the laughs and COVID go into the sky. just get away from us, please. I don't care where you go. You can meet someplace else. You
that
laughs
would be great.
And COVID.
Yeah.
I haven't done an outdoor show. I would. Haven't been invited, haven't been asked, but I would definitely do one. And I haven't organized one. That seems like a whole different level of competency that I don't possess.
Right, and then there's the secret show, which is in that studio, and then there's Chris Titus's studio next to his house, and so there's definitely there's shows where they're taking it super seriously, and Flappers is thinking about doing shows at the top of their parking lot.
Oh, that's cool. Then I could jump if my knee chunk didn't work. I'm into that. They also have that little patio right on First and Magnolia, you know?
Right,
I mean,
there's
it's
an
a
outdoor
very
patio.
tiny space, but
It's too small. We went to the comic book store yesterday, and Andy came out, and he was a little twitchy. He's like, the comic book store is too small to have 10 people in it. Why are there 10 people in the comic book store?
right.
And I was reminded when I was a kid, did you guys have this? Like after school, everybody would go to the same kind of corner store, bodega kind of thing. And they always thought the kids were going to shoplift. They were correct. And Bertie's Bernie's Drugstore was the one in my town, and
Yeah.
they had a sign at the door that said only 2 kids at a time, so they could watch the kids and make sure they didn't get shoplifted. Didn't help, still shoplifted. Very sad. Anyway,
We would go to a little candy store called Bumps. And this sounds so crazy, but we would walk down on the railroad tracks to a hardware store or an antique store that had in it a little candy store called Bumps. And it wasn't officially called Bumps. That was just the name it was given. And I was a kid, I didn't question it. But there's no like Mr. Bumps or anything. But it was just like you want to go to Bumps and then you walk on active railroad tracks to get to a candy store.
Right. There's nothing wrong with active candy stores. You're not an idiot.
No.
If you saw Stand By Me, if you saw a train, you'd get the hell out of the way.
Very different life than teenagers or kids are living right now, for sure.
Certainly in a city.
So the whole Brian Callen thing, right?
Oh my God, I saw that video he just.
I
released.
started it. I was like, I can't. No. Here's the thing. There's rumors.
I don't actually even know him. Do you know him?
No, I met him just once at a benefit show for a school. But there's comics we have heard rumors about, or like you kind of like you just don't want to spend a lot of time.
Mostly Ellen.
No, I don't think she's ever raped anyone.
No, but the rumors I've heard about Ellen are she's the only one.
Okay,
that I've
that's
ever
a different
heard.
topic. We'll get to that topic.
Okay,
Jackie, we got two things to talk about. Don't try to combine them and end this shit early.
Good point.
So the LA Times did a forensic look at a couple accusations. One of them is highly credible, and it follows the same template that a lot of women who are assaulted follow, where they don't go to the police. Something happens, they maybe tell a friend and kind of like hey, let me just run this by you kind of thing, right? And then they decide not to do anything about it for whatever reasons. It's going to be a pain in the ass. He's friends with my father. It's Brett Kavanaugh. No, I can't remember, or whatever it was. It's like they all follow the same thing. It's Harvey Weinstein. Who's going to believe me? Who's going to care, right? So there's an accusation that is exactly like that. This woman was raped by him, like physically held down. This is what she says. Yeah. And she told someone about it like in 99. Then she told someone she was dating in 2006. Like this is a credible charge. Okay. Because what you and I and a lot of women have known, everyone should know now, this is how a lot of it plays out with rape victims. You don't get raped and go, oh, I'm going to call the cops immediately and on this person I kind of know.
And justice will be served. Yeah.
Justice will be served. I won't be judged for being drunk. I won't be judged for going out on a date with them. It takes a lot for someone to charge someone with rape, okay? Right. And it takes a lot for someone to put their name in a newspaper knowing they're going to be called, this happened 20 years ago, what are you talking about? No one goes through that for any other reason than to go, I fucking can't take it anymore. This person needs to be, I don't know if he can still be charged. Held accountable, okay? Yes. And she didn't even do it until the Chris D'Elia stuff came out, and she saw him and was like, fuck, however it gets you to come forward is how long it takes, okay? Yeah. I mean, same thing with the Catholic Church, and it's common knowledge that it takes a lot of rape victims a really long time to come forward. Sorry.
Right.
That doesn't mean it didn't happen. Sorry.
No, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean, and nobody's doing it for people are like for money and attention. Those are like such weird things that you think you're going to get either of those things that are going to be positive.
The only attention you get is called a whore. That's the attention you get. Okay. Yeah. So anyone who's that's their defense. It's like, just get off my timeline. Right. And, but then I as soon as I saw and read the article, I quote tweeted it. I called him like a rapist hack. I'm like, oh, should I be doing that? But you know what? It's fucking in the paper, and this is totally credible to me. And then there was another one where he, again, physically held a woman in place to do something to her at an American Apparel. Okay, so those are the two that were in the paper where he physically, held a woman down or in place. The other two were more about shit he said, which I could see being like, well, you can't hold someone accountable for something a comic for something they said, right? Even if it was shitty and you have to fuck me to get stage time, right? And that's one of those things where it's like, okay, that doesn't, but these other two charges are totally credible, which to me, that means I believe the other shit,
Right.
Of the two women that said he said these things. And usually when someone's done that twice, they've done it a lot more times. And women,
nobody has ever read
it. Yeah. So, it's gross. He's gross. And I guess now factions in comedy, you're either like cool and you don't call people out on that shit, or you're fucking SJW who wants to ruin people's lives. It's so stupid. When someone's a rapist, you don't have to defend them.
Right. He's like, I believe in what he just released, that thing. He's like, I believe in Me Too. It finally gives women a voice in something.
Oh
and
my
then,
God.
Right. But he's like, but I also believe in due process. And you're like, how about some sense of perspective would be nice too? Because I mean, the thing is even if he knows now that those were, when I was date raped, and I've been date raped twice, just because, and the way I defined it, and I can't not define it in my head to this very day, is that I put myself there, right? I was hammered. I went with this guy. I decided I didn't want to have sex, and they decided that they did want to have sex, and then we had sex, and we used a condom, so it's me insisting on using a condom means that it was Zach and such.
Okay,
I'm gonna need a condom, but please.
Dude, let me have this one thing in my ring.
Right, if my rape I can't possibly be having babies during my date rape. If that would be amazing. But it's like, but these are things that, if I ran into those guys again, first of all, I would not remember them. Hi, I have that face thing, and I can't remember people I've met a dozen times.
You were
and
drunk.
Then if I don't, I was and so. But the thing is if I met them again, I would say, hey, I hope you're not doing that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Where someone, even because your dick's not going to fall off if someone says no. It's you're not gonna your sperm is not gonna back up into your system and then make you go. There's all this sort of terrible old-timey sex that men need to release themselves, and there's a lot of bullshit old-timey science that said that men had to have sex more than women, and if they didn't release themselves, they would burst into flames or something.
If their dicks were to fall off, maybe we would be a lot more accommodating. Okay, but guess what? The stakes aren't that high, motherfuckers. But the other thing I haven't seen the whole video. I just started it and I couldn't handle it. But if he's like interested in due process, that means you're interested. That's a legal term. So are you going to take this to court? And you know what? Harvey Weinstein was convicted on the same kind of testimony, the same kind of experience that this woman in the article gave. So, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be that interested in due process because it might work against you.
Right. I don't know.
The only thing that's different now is in the entire history of the world, no one's believed women. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay, we'll give it some consideration. Obviously, it didn't work with Kavanaugh.
It did not.
So it doesn't only works half the time or even less than that anyway. Right. But it's new, and sorry, go ahead.
Right, percentage-wise, he'll be fine.
Yes.
But the thing is I will say this is the video. His acting chops are excellent. I mean, he looks sincere, looks honest, he looks sober, interested, all of the things. I mean, there's not. I don't know.
What? People.
He may have told himself that he didn't do it.
Totally. I bet
that-
he thinks he's not a rapist. I bet he thinks he is. I bet he thinks, she wanted it or it was fun or whatever. Maybe, I mean, I don't know how that brain works, but maybe that's what they tell themselves, right? And then that way you can close all the circles, right? You didn't do anything wrong because women like it like that when they, you know what I mean? That's an old way for men to let themselves off the hook.
Right, and the drunk thing, and the, we were all high, we were all drunk, we were all whatever, and you're like, yeah, whatever, man. You just hear what's being said around you. I mean, I've done things drunk, and they haven't been violent, but like I've stolen things, and if someone were to come to me and say, "Hey, jackass, remember when you stole that?" I'd be like, "Oh, probably. What can I do to make reparations?" Like, I don't know what I could do, but it would probably involve money because I stole something. Yeah. How about that?
That's the great thing about food versus alcohol. Like when I'm full, I don't steal shit. I'm like, I can't even get off the couch, right? So how could I start shoplifting? Right. But there's like this little clique of comics that one by one they're like apples on a rape tree and they're being plucked, right?
Right.
Are they all coming down? I don't know. You and I are probably good friends with rapists. We have no idea,
Well,
I don't know.
I'm work friends with rapists. I'm not good friends with
work friends. Yes, right. Work friends. But there's a ton of like funny sort of party comics that are dudes that if you enjoy that kind of comedy, which those guys do, there's other comics that do it, but they're not douchebags. They're just being funny on stage,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
It's like there's this weird thing of comedy fans buying into the lifestyle, of whoever they really like a lot. And so if their guy, does like sex, there's a lot of funny guys, or there's a lot of guys that do sexist material that aren't rapists off stage. You can find that.
So many.
You can find it.
Kyle's right there. But there's so many. And
like 80% of them. Yeah.
Easily. And I'll say this too, is my friend Nicole Levy, who a writer, producer on Cloak and Dagger, a Marvel TV show. Anyway, I've known her, she's a good friend of mine, and she was talking about the idea of the broken genius, the idea of the dirtbag genius, the bad guy genius. You're just like, I would like to bury that head first in the fucking sand. You know who died? I mean,
who are you talking about comic-wise? Because I wouldn't consider either of those guys, D'Elia or Callan, geniuses. But definitely broken.
Well, but their fans do. Their fans are like, oh, Hemingway, he was a horrible, horrible person, but he was also a genius. And you're like, he was.
Wait, is that literally being used to defend Brian Callen that he's
No, but I can't imagine.
Have you ever heard any comic go, hey, have you heard that new Callen bit? Like, no, it doesn't happen. Sorry, all right? He's not a genius.
I don't know. I can't imagine. I literally have watched so much great stand-up this week.
Yeah.
From people that are genuinely funny.
Yeah.
Last night I saw Udoy Davis. He was great.
Yeah.
I saw Robert Jenkins today. I saw you. I saw
hilarious.
Ophira twice. Yeah.
Ophira was killing me with that Zoom shit.
Oh, that Zoom
Now
shit is
I
so funny.
have to root for the pandemic because she has such funny Zoom stuff that can only be done on Zoom.
Right. And then remember Kirkman?
Yes.
Bit about Instacart?
Yes. No, our show is great. And Jessica Kirsten and Aida, we lost Aida. She had internet problems. She was like in and out, like she would show up and not show up inside our Zoom pages, and then
none
she
of these
disappeared.
and none of those people that I've just mentioned are broken.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. Robert Jenkins, you're incredibly funny comic.
Yes.
Not a monster. How about that?
Yeah. No, we should come up with a list of male comics. We have a list of female comics.
Easily,
I don't know.
easily. But I will say that, but you know, like I don't like that whole he's a genius, so you got to accept his monsterhood, right? And the same with he's a genius, you got to accept that he's a fuck up. You know, like I love Mitch Hedberg, and Mitch Hedberg was the sweetest guy in the world. But that guy would just as often not show up for shit as show up for shit because he was high.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean,
Listen, competence is a genius, right? If you can, I mean, you and I have the genius of consistency, right?
Yeah.
We show up for every fucking show,
Right.
no matter what's happening. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
But it's a long haul genius. Like, people don't realize until we're 85 still doing a podcast once a week. Like, God, these bitches don't shut up. This is amazing.
Right. It's so I definitely, yeah.
This happens. This is like happening every 4 months where like comedy is all of a sudden it's like girls versus boys, you know, in comedy about rape, which it's just like, come on guys, like we put up with so much bullshit. Do you expect us to also support a rapist too? Can't you at least come over to our side on this one? Right?
Oh my God, yes. Yes. That is, yeah.
Lisa Traeger was like apparently arguing about what rape is with somebody she tweeted, and then she realized he had 13 followers, and she's like, that was a half hour of my life. Like, just having all these charges come up,
Yeah.
believe me, it's 90% of female comics have a story, if not more than one. And so having to like relive it every single time to explain to people who probably don't want to learn anyway, this is normal. This is how women report rape. This is how they respond to rape. They pretend it didn't happen.
And this is how, and the dialogue of how they fight anybody who pipes up about anything, like what they're doing. And it's not just about rape; it's about everything. It's like it's and it's been covered, but I mean it's a different bar, right? It's a different. Women, it's always women's fault for whatever happened, and if you pipe up, you're a whore or a bitch or a horrible person. The same is true if you have any sort of ambition.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Kamala thing. Oh,
yeah,
wait, let's put that. Let's hold that up for a second. But we'll come back to that. I'm just going to type Kamala in the chat so we don't forget it. But the other thing, okay, so apparently, I mean, it could always be shelved, but the Washington Post is doing like a feature story on me. Okay, so I just did a very long interview and with the writer, and he's like, and so you swam for UCLA. I'm like, I was there for a year. I dropped out my freshman year. Why? Oh, my swim coach. Then we open up this fucking cave of a story of the swim coach, and which I'm like, I'm done with it. It was so long ago, and I don't want. Like, I understand why you wouldn't want to go, I was raped, because now you're a rape victim. That's part of your intro in your, that's a part of a descriptor for you the rest of your life. Like, part of me is like, I don't want to be, part of the swim coach ring, right?
Yeah.
So he it was funny because he emailed me and he goes, and I'm just going to mention one sentence, and that, Andy King was, serving for sexual abuse, and you were molested. And I was like, whoa. I said it was an attempted molestation. But then, and I think he kind of like was okay, and he put it like that. But then I was like, isn't that a molestation that just didn't go all the way? And
Right.
I don't want to have been molested. I want it to have been an attempt.
Right, because
like
even I.
All these years, I'm like, no, I'm not. Look, I feel bad.
I'm
for
not a
people that
victim.
were molested,
Yeah.
but
Right,
Yeah.
worse things have happened to other people, and you're just
Yeah.
like,
Yes,
but the
that's
shit
the
that happened to every one of us is
the other
annoying.
thing is, I feel like this sounds crazy because he really did horrible things to friends of mine, and I feel like I don't want to be like, oh, he hurt me too, even though he did, because what he did to me was so minimal compared to my friend.
who he raped and had to have an abortion when she was 14 years old. Okay, that's public knowledge, or so. But it's just like fuck, like he did a horrible thing to some people I know, and then a slightly horrible thing to me. So I don't want to seem like I'm like horning in on it. You know what I mean? Although
which is
so
a
funny.
classic women thing too, where you're just
And the idea that someone would want to be a victim in a victim story, where I'm like, take me out of it. I don't want to be in this story. That's actually it. We don't want this to have happened to us. We don't want to think about it. We don't want to label it. Was I molested? Was it a rape attempt? Was it what's the label that I have to use now correctly every time I bring it up, which I never want to bring it up, but it comes up accidentally when someone says, how come you didn't graduate from UCLA?
Why do you love swimming even though anyway.
Yeah. So that was a week.
So you don't know when that'll come out?
Sometime next week, I think.
Okay.
Like I was like, oh, okay. And then they actually sent a photographer to take pictures of me.
Oh, okay.
So they're not using the same 4 pictures on the internet from 2016. I'm like, oh, I guess this is real. So I don't know, but it could be canned. It could be.
That Kim New Money shot of you. You just get someone to Photoshop me out of it.
Oh, or only you.
Oh no,
completely.
No, I got somebody to Photoshop you out of it.
Wow, what a fucking monster you are! I
really like that picture, but I can't do. I can't have a new headshot where it's just both of us. They're gonna think we're a duo.
We look like a twin because my head's on top of yours.
Yes.
But I hope one of my hairs is leaning into your shot and you don't know it. That's what I.
Oh, that's what she did a real nice job. Let's do comic of the week, by the way.
Oh, right. So this woman. She's been on Conan. She's so funny. I don't know why we didn't do her earlier. And you did a set with her at Hot Tub, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Emily Catalano.
Yes, Emily Catalano. Yes.
She's hilarious.
She was really, really good at that Hot Tub show.
Yes.
I couldn't remember how to pronounce her last name, so I let you do it. Emily Catalano, you guys. She's
Catalano,
great.
Yes. That's an easy Italian name.
What's her Twitter handle?
Emily Catalano.
Oh, really?
No.
Catchy.
I know that you should be an easy Armenian, but she's at Emily Catalano.
Okay, that's great. She's a great comic. You should definitely look into her work.
Yes.
And I think the other thing we could do at this time would be
another Max Fun.
Yeah, I can try to do that.
Copy's in the thing.
It's in the thing. Let's see what happens when I do it.
There
we go. You know what, you guys? Obviously, we are lucky to have this podcast right now as an outlet. Oh my God, it's such an outlet and a way to connect with each other and to see, even over Zoom, to see people. And we're glad that you guys listen to it. And I get a lot of emails saying that it does help. It takes you out of your own heads, and our own heads are terrible neighborhoods right now. So we all need to get out of our own heads. So provide some companionship. Anyway, so it takes time and technology and funding to keep producing the episodes that we share. So if you join now or upgrade now, if you can, it enables us to keep doing it instead of other things. Membership, of course, starts at $5 a month. That gets you all the bonus content, which is mostly just bonus shows and bonus alerts and stuff. And you'll be able to access that as long as you're a member. And then there's already a lot of stuff waiting for you right now. Like you can do the old ones too. But if you join at $10 a month, you get a Max Fun membership card, a pin. You can pick one of the pins. Our pin is really cool. They're also doing a pin sale right now where you can, if you can only do $5, you can buy the pin separately, and you also get the bonus content. If you join at $20 a month, you get this year's special gift, which is a game pack, which has custom dice and a custom deck of playing cards, all fun Max Fun designs. So go to MaximumFun.org/join to become a member, and you can also, if you want, you can subscribe for a friend. You could. That's the exciting thing that they're doing now, is that you could actually subscribe, buy a gift subscription for someone else, and that's at MaximumFun.com. MaximumFun.org/join, because we're a nonprofit. That's the whole fucking point. Okay, let's get back.
Yes. Hey. All right. I may have revealed a detail I wasn't supposed to reveal.
Kyle, could you just blur out the name? I used a first name when I said someone was 14, but the 14 and abortion is public knowledge, but the name may not be.
That's around minute 36.
Around, okay. Oh, thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
And
Just in case.
cut out working and
Like 32 to 40 is where I'd look.
okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so now do you want to talk about Ellen?
Sure. I mean,
I don't know anything about Ellen, but I have heard rumors for
Yeah.
decades that she was kind of hard to work for.
yeah,
But-
I mean, yeah.
But that's all I heard, you
Same.
know?
I mean, there were two pretty exhaustive pieces about the work culture there. And then like
yeah?
Warner Brothers was like, well, we're going to investigate. All right. I think you guys are aware of it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not everyone there's, you know, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it's interesting because I saw your tweet about it. Is that, you know, sort of late night guys get to be grumpy? And,
Yes. Well,
yeah.
no, my tweet was more about, well, it's, you know, every talk show can't be put into the same box, right? So, but there's the forced cheeriness that I feel like helped push Rosie, you know, and perhaps Ellen, just and I worked on the Bonnie Hunt show, and the executives in daytime are obsessed with this presentation of being cheerful. Okay. And they think the women that are watching at home, that's what they want. And it's mostly men deciding this, right? So
Right.
the pressure on daytime, you wouldn't believe, it's much worse than on late night. It really
Interesting.
is. Late night, there's still the feeling like no one's watching, even though they are, but it's a different, it's a more of a ratings pressure, but it's not tonal, you know, from what I've seen, at least
Right.
you know,
From your perspective.
my limited experience.
Yeah.
Maybe at Fallon it is tonal because they're trying. You know what? I don't know. Or Colbert, maybe it is tonal, but I know in daytime they really police
Super intense.
the female hosts, right?
Yeah.
And Ellen, you know, again, she is so successful she could do whatever she wanted. But I think she probably internalized all that and decided to spit it out as well. And she is wildly successful, and it's definitely a mixed bag because she's an incredible, what she did for gay representation is incredible, and her series ended in 1998 because she came out and people stopped watching. 5 years later she turns that around. That's a fucking Titanic that she manually pulled out of an iceberg and pushed
Right.
the other way.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
got to just go that the will that makes you do that might also be the will that makes you a terrible boss. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I understand. I mean, the pressure at being at the helm of those shows is also incredibly great. That you have to have a team around you who's willing to call you on your BS.
Well, yeah, and two of the guys in her team, one of them, Andy Lassner, I follow him on Twitter. From everything I know, he's a very nice guy. But there's a guy named Ed Glavin who was demanding oral from writers, you know? So she had that was under her, and they were supposedly taking care of all this stuff. It's weird, like you had it seems like she had the crew that does all the dirty work, and she goes out and gets to be Ellen, right? And that's kind of what a lot of how a lot of shows work is people, you know, you write a Taco Bell joke and then 8 people go, oh, they're sponsored, right? So there's always people like that, just let's not piss off. And so there's always people managing things like that. And this guy sounds awful. So, but, you know, it's hard to imagine that you wouldn't be slightly aware of that unless...
Well,
how do you not notice somebody's? But well, you know what? We comics have friends that are like, so maybe it can happen. Maybe it can happen that you don't notice it, or you don't see it, or that person doesn't present that side of their personality to you. I don't know. I don't know.
No, okay, I'm gonna talk now.
Okay.
So there's like these weird gatekeeper kind of like when you're at that level, you hire people to sort of keep other people away. I put in the chat that guy. Yeah, that guy.
Oh.
You never got to the guy above that guy.
Right.
So that guy was skimming off the top and making money, and those are the things that I know that he was doing, right? He was doing sort of dirtbag business practices.
Right.
I don't know that he was doing dirtbag
Lady practices.
Right. And so I know that I just know that when you have your late night show, you should definitely have me around because I'll be like, hey, you're being a dick. And or hey, the guy you hired is being a dick, and you're like, is he? He's being nice to me because nice to me.
I know
that is said in stand-up comedy. It's like the frickin' get it all tattooed on our eyelids. Well, he's nice to me. He books me.
But hey, Eva Braun, hey, he's sensitive with me. He doesn't try to kill me.
Right, there's footage of Hitler with dogs, petting and being happy with dogs. Nobody needed to see that. They used to just be in the Smithsonian. They would never let it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've only recently, I'm sure some white supremacist was like, let's make him more human.
Well, it's also a way to go look at every monster is human too, and they're nice to animals sometimes, you know.
Right.
Or
Doesn't
nice-
mean that. I don't know if you ever saw the Deadpool 2 extra. Probably not.
Nope.
But he goes back in time to kill baby Hitler, and it's really, really funny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a sketch that did not make it as one of the credits. You know how they have those extra clips of the credits.
Because
There
he
was
killed
rumor
a
they were going to
baby.
put it. Well, he goes back to he's Deadpool. What do you think happens?
Yeah.
Anyway, so but I will say this is so I was talking this week with some muckety mucks.
Hold on. Type it.
Because of
Oh,
just sort of other projects that these people want to do with me. And some of them video, some of them audio, some of them touring, some of them personal appearance. You're like, oh, all right, I'll do whatever you want. And the two people that I talked to in this company were like, our roster's really bro heavy, and we didn't do it on purpose, so we're trying to get away from it. And I said, well, Jackie Cation, am willing to be a portal to it turns out I know unicorns. Are you looking for an angry Latina or possibly a whimsical African American woman? I can find you any number of these people, and they know 4 more, right? And both times it was, well, we're going to start with you. I was like, that's good, but it's also, hey, why don't you just get 2 more? How about there's 3 women, and then there's a pile of haircuts, right? Then there's these pile of boy haircuts that that you love dearly.
sure. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times when non-white men are overlooked, it's not a deliberate, but
It's fishbowl stuff, man.
well, it's sort of not seeking out extra or something different. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I've got a full fridge here. Why do I need to look in the freezer? Well, yeah, but the fridge is all full of white men, and there's like black lesbians in the freezer. Check them out.
I have to say that I literally this week when I was thinking about doing my Sunday services show, I was like, you know what? Let's get a dude. And then I was like, let's get a gentleman a non-white gentleman. Mm-hmm. And then, but I had to actually think, let's get a dude. Because my go-to are all the women I'm hanging out with right now.
Yeah.
And, it's a fishbowl thing where the other fish that are in my fish tank are the ones that I go to first.
Yes.
And that's true for white dudes.
Examine your go-tos.
Yeah.
And go, what do I keep going to?
Right. Right. I like your freezer. I like your freezer analogy. It's very good.
Go someplace else.
Exactly.
All right. So how much time do we have?
10?
Yeah, 10.
Another 10 minutes?
Kamala Harris,
Yeah.
Jacqueline, she is our age. Oh, by the way, speaking of our age,
Yeah?
Brian Callen is 53.
Is he?
Yeah, so he's like 2 years younger than us. Jackie, okay, so rape charges aside, can we just be inspired that a 53-year-old almost got a prank show on Netflix? You know what? There's a way to look up to this experience and go, maybe there's room for me. I'm sorry I haven't raped anyone. Maybe you could take a look at me.
Right, exactly. There's plenty of asshole women who are willing to do pranks on people. Come on, I hate prank shows with the power of the sun.
I do too, and it's so weird that somebody over 30 wants to participate in one. But then
Right. You're just
show
like,
business.
it sounds exhausting. How about you just write a joke? It's do you remember Laurence Olivier and Dustin Hoffman, that story? Where he's doing Marathon Man or something?
Yeah.
So he's doing Marathon Man, and Dustin Hoffman goes mad, and he shows up at set one day, all panting and tired because he's been running, and Laurence Olivier says, "Yeah, that's great. Why don't you just try acting?" And so that's what reality shows and prank shows and all that stuff. I mean,
But prank shows make
joke.
my son needs prank show, right? But it's just so weird to me that you'd be hiring like middle-aged men to do prank shows when there are 25-year-olds more than willing to do prank shows, and that's the target. That's who my son wants to see. He doesn't want to see a guy with hair plugs doing pranks. He wants to see a guy
who's
with his
gonna
own
be
hair
him.
doing pranks. Yeah.
So a guy who's 10 years older, and that's what your son thinks that he's going to be.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to see a guy who's 40 years older, and we're all going to be.
Literally 4 years older. Interesting.
Yeah.
So Kamala Harris is our age.
Yeah.
Without going into her record, which maybe she's a little prosecutorial.
Oh my God. Here's what, before we even get into this, I need to
Right.
fucking say this out loud. If you are a woman post Ronald Reagan and you want to go into politics and the world has gone mad with law and order, your best route, if you are a woman lawyer, is to get into law and order, and you try to affect change from within the system, and you end up making very conservative decisions and being in support of some of those things as you go along. The same reason that Bernie Sanders accepted NRA money was because that was how the game was being played. That's all it is. So people can suck my dick about Kamala Harris. They can fucking suck it and get off my areola. That's Janelle Monáe. Yeah. So
this rant precedes our Kamala Harris discussion, you're telling me?
Yes.
Wow. I can just say, and you could probably say this too, since we're the same age as her and we were raised in a certain generation, if you were, let's just broaden it, going into a male-dominated profession, right? Like the district attorney's office, like stand-up
Politics.
comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She wasn't into politics for a while. She was,
But that's why you go to the district attorney's office.
Okay. So you are always the only woman. You are expected to go along with a lot of shit, laugh at a lot of shit, and in her case, maybe prosecute incredibly conservatively. I'm not sure if that's what she wanted to do, or if that was like, I'm going to lose my job if I don't, or I'm going to lose the support of the cops or whatever, That's
the gig.
It's particular to, I think, our generation of women, where earlier, say higher up would be maybe Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's like they're the first, they just have to prove that they're competent, right? And then Kamala, that generation, our generation, we have to prove that we can go along with anything, right? That we're not snitches, that we're cool. We're not that kind of feminist. We don't hate men, right? That under AOC's generation, totally different ballgame. I mean, it's a different type of sexism, but they can also they don't have to prove that they deserve to be there. Like they are there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
so
she's already there.
She may have made decisions she wouldn't do now because she was in there were very few options for a woman, not and she's a black woman. Like, that's a different layer of shit she's got to wade through that you and I can't even comprehend.
Right. She can't seem to be playing the race card or the woman card at any time. At any time. And so, and she has to prove that she's smarter than all the guys in the room. But she also has to be a good sport. And she has to get the job done. And she has to change the system from within. You fucking do that.
If she was, or if that's what she was trying to do.
That's what she was trying to do.
Okay. The other thing, like, I kind of liken it to, like, you know, again, there's comedy's not a equal analogy or something like that, but where you're at a one-nighter and the guy in front of you just did 20 minutes of dick jokes and you're like, okay, well, guess what I have to do now, right? And you are way dirtier than you want to be, but you get off stage and you get all the, oh, I hate women, but I love you. We want to have you back. And you're like, I survived it, right? I'll get more work. I'll get more money.
Yeah.
Sometimes and again, I'm not a prosecutor. I don't know what it's like, but I feel like all of us in this age group were presented with that sort of obstacle when we were coming up in whatever our very male-dominated profession was.
Right. And so there was an article, or at least one, that I read about the planned attack within the Democratic Party of how they consider Kamala too ambitious, and they fear for her loyalty because during the presidential debates, she brought up Joe Biden's questionable racial decisions.
She tried to win. That's what she tried to do.
She tried to win, and she might want to be president if she becomes vice president.
And she might want to win if she's running with you. She might want to do whatever's necessary to get you in the White House if you're her running mate.
So my mind, it blew the roof off of my brain.
Right.
And so I got a bunch of comments from a bunch of dudes, and it's fine. That it's fine that if you don't like Kamala Harris, you don't have to like Kamala Harris. I don't like Joe Biden very much, but I'll be voting for Joe Biden. I'll be voting for, if Bernie Sanders was his running mate, the 170 years of their lives, I would be voting for them, you know? And so, but if it's the woman, is her last name Bass, who has the prosthetic legs and was in Iraq?
No, that's Tammy Duckworth.
Oh,
Karen
Duckworth.
Bass. Is it Bass or bass? I don't know. I guess if you're not a musical instrument, it's bass, right?
Okay, yeah.
So Karen Bass, but there was like this. She
did the Scientology.
Couple of problematic. One was Scientology, and one was like praising Castro. It's like, it's like, Paula, what these people have to do to get reelected is
to get work.
Yes, it's so bad. And I just
want to go back to Alaska,
man. When I saw the Scientology thing, I just laughed at how like, wow, that lady needed some money.
Yeah. We all got bills. But so whoever it is, so I got like a bunch of comments from a bunch of dudes telling me that why they don't like Kamala Harris, and I explained it in DMs and in public. I'm not even exaggerating. 11 times.
Wow.
And then I just started going, please read above because I'm sick of fucking doing this. And a couple people, I think, unfriended me. A couple of dudes unfriended me. And one of the male comics came to DMs and he was like, I've been listening to Jimmy Dore a lot. It's just making me super mad. And I was like, Jimmy Dore's Tinfoil Hat Factory, as much as I like the guy, I can't recommend. That's not going to help anyone's peace of mind. Because as far as I can tell, with all of this stuff, you're just mad. And it's not Jimmy Dore in particular. It's there's no solution. There's just, we live in a world of conspiracies and you're fucked. And you should just be impotently mad for a decade. And you're like, just pay your bills and try to make someone laugh. Do stand up.
I thought that Kamala Harris, all right. I thought she was like one of the more liberal senators when it came to votes, but that might not mean anything to a Jimmy Dore fan.
I guess it doesn't, and they just call her a cop every time it comes down to it, and you're
lazy. It's so stupid.
It's super lazy, and you're like, okay, so you don't like Kamala, but you like Joe Biden?
No, I don't think they do either.
Right. So it's all very weird.
All right. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
whoever,
I can't
there's
fix it.
plenty of highly competent women that will do a great job and step
The
in
field
when
is
Joe
open.
Biden has his stroke. And, you know,
What are you doing sets this week? You got sets? Talk to me about it.
yeah, I do. You know what? I haven't exactly fixed up my I will soon. The paint is barely dry, Jackie. But I
I'm
will have
getting
a calendar right to my left that I can look at and immediately plug shows. But I am doing Sophia Alexander's show, I think on the 6th.
Oh, nice.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah,
After that, I'll be tweeting.
I have a couple of shows this week, including a benefit for, I think, a Jewish community center. And then also, William is coming over to the house to put a tiny AC in my garage. And we both stared at each other when I called him, had him come over, because I was like, yeah, I probably should have mentioned this when you built the tiny thing next to the garage. And he was like, yeah, now I have to remember where all the electrical wires are.
That thing must be so hot right now.
It's pretty hot. It's pretty hot right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm doing a bunch of shows. I'm doing the Punchline Wednesday show.
Oh, cool.
That'll be super fun. And then I'm going to try to do another Sunday show next week. I told Katie Hughes that she could do a set, and I told either Ron Funches or Doug Benson that they could do a set.
Cool.
So whatever, people, let there be comedy.
Anything else? Do we have another pitch?
We do. One more. This is, I think
All
the
right,
last
this
one
is
for
our
the drive.
gratitude expression.
Yeah.
Thank you to our listeners.
MaximumFun.org
You're part
/join.
of our community, and we thank you. And if you've taken this extra step to become a Max Fun member, I'm going to say thank you again. So you get an extra thank you. And the ones that haven't, they get a fuck you. Okay? So that's 2 thank yous and a thank you and a fuck you. You pick which one belongs to you. Please join Maximum Fun. Go to MaximumFun.org /join and just become a member through Jackie and Laurie and get one of our cute little pins.
Yay.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right.